Welcome to Leicester's Abbey Park for the Leicester Mercury's 1989 Historical Vehicle Pageant and Parade. In just its second year, it's already one of Britain's biggest such events, as organiser Sue Hollins explains.
When we did our first event last year, what we thought was, well, we'll give it a try. Perhaps we'll get 350 vehicles entered of all different kinds. What actually happened was we had very nearly 800 vehicles entered last year. And so we felt that we had such a lovely day, we had lovely weather, that we could do it again. And so here we are, 1989, with 1,010 vehicles entered, which does make it the biggest one-day event of its kind in the country. Biggest one-day event of a motoring area. This is the day before the big day. Let's get everything as much as we can ready today, and then why don't you come with us and see how it all turns out, how the plans all fall into place.
There we are. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And so they came from the length and breadth of Britain. The Morgans, the Bentleys, the Lagondas, and many a humble Morris, each lovingly restored and cherished by its owner, from a magical Model T called Priscilla to a parade of Morgan three-wheelers.
I've done the starter motor this morning. Good morning.
A little warm for you this morning.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, it's good.
Tell me about the car. What is it?
1933 Morgan matchless engine, about 1,000cc. You know, we rebuilt this about 3 years ago.
So it's 57, 58 years old, this car.
That's good this time of the morning. Yeah.
You've rebuilt it personally?
Yes.
What sort of condition was it in when you found it?
Well, this was a four-seater. You know, we rebuilt that one as well. That's one of ours, with my daughter in. It's like a four-seater, but it was in bad condition, so we decided to make it into a two-seater. You know.
How difficult is it to start with something like this from scratch and rebuild it?
Well, you've got to get lots of friends, know about these cars, and you gradually get the knowledge,
How much of your time does it take?
Just, 2 or 3 years.
What's the joy of owning a car like this?
This is a three-wheeler.
This morning,
It's a Morgan, it's registered.
it's super, isn't it?
It's not just cars. The restored commercials are on show too. It may seem a dog's life, but this showpiece tractor makes a good bed. And everyone likes to dress the part.
Brian Jewell, you've got, tell me about it. What sort
It's
of
a
car is
1934 Austin 7. It was a complete wreck, and it's taken 6 years to revamp it as it is now.
When you say it was a complete wreck, what sort of condition was it in when you found it?
Rough, very, very rough. We had to re-weld a lot of the metal at the side of the body and a lot of new metal in it. And it was all done in the garage at home. And good hobby, nice hobby.
When you say a hobby, it must take over your life, mustn't it? Owning a
It does,
car like
yeah,
this?
yeah, it does.
How do the family feel about you having?
Well, they joined in. They helped to make the seats and the roof lining and everything else. So we spend our holidays in it now, and most enjoyable.
When you've done something like this, and you've put not only a lot of time, but presumably a fair amount of money into it as well, don't you sometimes worry about actually taking it out on the road? Don't you just want to sit and look at it?
No, I don't think so. You've got to use them. The more you use them, the better they are, and we use them a lot.
So when you holiday on it, how far have you taken this?
Yorkshire Moors, Yorkshire Dales, nice leisurely runs.
What sort of reaction do you get from people when you drive a car like this these days?
Initially a bit of a surprise, and then of course when you're on holiday and that sort of thing, you stop at the pubs and you get free drinks, and everyone enjoys it, and we pile all the luggage in and have a really good time.
Small was beautiful for many of the day's enthusiasts.
Alan Bartram, you must have what I think is one of the smallest of the vehicles in the parade today. It's a Messerschmitt, I think, is it?
Yeah, Messerschmitt KR200.
And how old is it?
1959.
Which one's oil is running hot? Took it to Cadwell Park yesterday, did about 180 miles in it. It's pretty good going. All it used was 5 pints of oil. Anybody got any water? Must be some somewhere.
Ted Weston, you're looking very elegant for the parade today. The threads go with the car, do they?
That's correct, yes.
What is the car?
It's a 1961 Consul. Unfortunately, it's been re-registered. When I bought it 18 months ago, it wasn't in the condition it's in now. I've still got a lot of work to do on it. But we do a lot in the rock and roll circle. We even dress like this at weekends when we go to various gigs up and down the country. The car goes with us, the flag goes with us, you know, and there's about 8 or 10 of us. We all go around together, all dressed like this. Because, I mean, with these vehicles, the parts are the main thing to try and get hold of. There is a place in Rugby that deals with nothing else but Consuls and Zephyrs, and I mainly get my parts through them. It's just had a reconditioned engine in it, as a matter of fact. They're only a 1700 engine in these. I mean, the size of the body, when Ford's brought this out, it's unbelievable, really, that a 1700 would draw something like this. It's built like a tank.
The clothes obviously go with the image as well. Those must be as difficult to get as parts of the car.
Yes. If you wanted a suit from head to toe now, it costs you something in the region of about £250.
For most exhibitors at the pageant, it's the details that really matter, from shimmering metalwork right down to the floor, if you want a chance to take away the Concours d'Elegance. But as this hot rod and others like it prove, not everything has to be just as the manufacturers designed it. But new or old, spit and polish make a very big difference to your image.
Tell me about Priscilla.
Priscilla's 1914 Model T. It was purchased in 1914 by Central Motors of Leicester, then found by one of the directors in 51 and renovated and did lots of runs, including Land's End to John O'Groats. I took the vehicle over in 85. Went to Land's End to John O'Groats in December 85 with Radio Leicester in the snow and so forth, and we helped to raise £27,000, and we've done quite a few charity runs since. So.
Now, I thought the thing with the Model T was it came in any colour you like as long as it was black.
That's right. Well, this is the only one I know of with this body. I can't find another vehicle with this, but you go to Model T rally and they're all shapes and sizes. Originally they were, yes, but this came to England, we believe, in a box and was one of the first made at Manchester, because Manchester started manufacture in 1914.
What's she worth?
What do you want to pay? For a vehicle like this, off standard, anything. No price. To me, I wouldn't let it go. Any price.
This is a super outfit. Has it taken you long to get ready for today?
Not too long.
Not long, no, not really.
Do you come out with Priscilla very often on these sort of runs?
Occasionally,
yes. We try to anyway.
In the back there?
A bit chilly sometimes.
Yes.
Is she a reliable old motor?
Never let us down yet. Yes, she can.
No.
We've got Norman Roberts to do the honours.
And so to the off, Leicester's town crier Norman Roberts takes to the middle of the road to get the grand parade underway. First to set off on the 23-mile route were the bicycles, and the tricycles, and the penny farthings, the tandems, and all sorts and shapes and sizes of person-powered vehicles, with pedlars, young and not so young, determined to complete the gruelling course.
Norman, you do many glittering occasions. What do you think to this one?
Oh, it's superb. Especially, it looks like we're going to get the same as last year. We've got perfect weather, we've got terrific turnout, and the general atmosphere is superb, you know. Just the sort of thing the city needs, and providing they turn out on the route and get down to Abbey Park like they did last year, it'll be a A1 plus day, and great credit to all the organisers.
Which vehicle are you going to be riding in?
Well, I'm going to start off in with the jazz band there, but eventually I might get on the bus. I might, as we get around the course, you never know where we're going to end up.
And so they set off, car after car, a parade miles long, setting off on a 23-mile route around the city of Leicester. Along the highways and the byways, thousands lined up to see this cavalcade of memorable old motors on its way around the city. Most of the route, of course, was on the flat, but there were hills too, and that caused problems for some of us, especially some of those with pedal power to think about rather than horsepower under the bonnet. Everybody did get round though, even if one or two had to have a tow here and there. People turned out from farms, from housing estates. Some had packed a picnic and set themselves up on the roadside. Keep pedalling, madam. You've still got a long way to go. But it could be worse. You could be on the penny farthing. It takes a lot of leg power to get that 23 miles around Leicester. Junctions, well, they could cause a few problems. Police were planted around the route to sort out the traffic so that everybody got round without too many delays. There were Morris 8s, Bullnose Morrises, Austin 7s galore, and some of the more spectacular cars as well. Some of those on which you simply cannot put a price. The Lagonda here, for instance, and the 8-litre Bentley. What a superb motor car that is. Many more. The owners, well, they simply wouldn't sell no matter how much money you offered them. The sunshine, of course, made the day really spectacular, whether you were watching the parade en route or later in Abbey Park. Here the Austin 7 Club with some of their cars. And Austin 7s, well, I think probably more love lavished on those than almost anything. They have a special character. The parade in total took quite a while to pass any given point, probably about an hour in fact in total, with all the commercial vehicles as well. For these youngsters, well, they're cars they've never seen before. For some of the older people watching, it just brought back a tinge of nostalgia and the days when motoring was really motoring. Open-top cars were in their element, of course, with the sun shining, but that's real open-top motoring. 2 wheels, and in the days when most of these bikes were built, crash helmets were not compulsory. A very famous radiator, that one. And still they kept pedalling, determined to get themselves round, along with some of the Moggy Thousands. Everyone enjoying the sunshine and a wave. The oldest car in the rally there, a Renault, driven by a doctor from Northamptonshire. More motorbikes, because it doesn't matter what your mode of transport, if you're a collector and you like preserving them, then that's for you. A little baffling though if you've not seen it all before. Get your head in there, young man, that's right. Everything from more modern cars like the Rover, even a hearse, no longer in use, I'm glad to say. MGs abounded. Something special about the old MG. And some special number plates too. Here we have some grand old commercial vehicles, Bullens contractors. Agricultural vehicles too take part in this pageant. If it's old and it moves, somebody will buy it and restore it. Here come the Morgans, the original three-wheel Morgans, followed by the more modern four-wheel versions. Here we are in Evington Village as the parade goes through. Most of the old cars and the customised cars have now passed, and we're waiting for the really big boys, the vehicles that have taken teams of people, many times factories, to restore and rebuild. They're the lorries, the buses, ranging from the old military vehicles to tankers, and of course some of the buses that whole groups of people buy between them and restore. The first of the commercial heavy vehicles, known in technical terms as the big stuff. An old Leyland coming through now, a Leyland Beaver tanker. Dixoline dynamite oil. Touch of hayseed from the driver of this old tractor, although I thought it was supposed to be a straw, not a cigar, sir. The brewery Iron Horse, actually known as an Iron Horse, there's a couple of those coming through, apparently very much a workhorse in their day. An old Atkinson, later merged to become Seddon Atkinson, of course. And the fairground lorries, of course. What looks like a modern, or more modern version of the old gypsy caravan. Towed by a large scamel. Another tanker coming through now, away from Manchester. And well, it may have been a wide load in its day, but I don't think it would qualify today. Now, how many times have you complained about being held up behind a tractor, but you'll never complain about being held up behind something as beautifully preserved as this. And that's a real hayride in the sun. The name tags give you the clue as to where they're from. Aldershot? Well, it's not quite military green. And the conductress there. An old Leicester City Transport bus coming through. And here is everyone's destination, Abbey Park in Leicester, by now basking in the sun and teeming with car enthusiasts expecting and getting a display of historical vehicles second to none in the country. Commercial firms vie with groups of restoration and preservation fans for the public's attention. For some, a simple balloon is pleasure enough, but others want to appreciate the finer detail of the restorer's art. Doug Rowett, this is a splendid vehicle you've got here. She shines in the sun beautifully. What is she?
She's a Model T Ford Commercial, which was built in 1925, and it's one of the early right-hand drive chassis that were made and produced in this country. She started off life in Ireland hauling lemonade, and we finally acquired her in 1983 and have made her into a replica of the vehicle which was owned and operated by Mr. Bullen, our founder, way back in 1908.
Now, what sort of condition was she in when you first got her?
Well, she was in not a bad condition. She had a different type body to this. It was a flat sort of bed, drop side wooden body. But the cab, as you see her, and the transmission engine are all original, but the body is a copy of that which Mr. Bullen had in way back in 1908.
How do you compare a vehicle like this one with the sort of thing you'd be using today?
Oh, it's quite a thing to drive, I can assure you. It's totally different in its arrangement. 30 miles is long enough without a rest, believe you me. About 25 miles an hour we can average.
But more character?
Oh, definitely more character. Oh yes, it's quite a joy to drive it, really.
Well, Tony Pickering is chairman of the trustees of the National Cycle Museum in
That's right, at Lincoln.
And Tony, we've got an array of wonderful historical cycles here, and this, I believe, is the oldest in the show.
1869.
What is it?
It's an English bone shaker. We're not absolutely sure of the manufacturer. We think it's Hedges, Coventry made. As you can see, it has wooden wheels with a metal tyre. Bone shaker they were called, and if you rode one you'd understand why. They shake every bone in the body.
They actually gave them the title bone shakers when
That's
they made
right.
them.
The true name is a velocipede.
Which is a
But
wonderful name.
It's a beautiful name, but everybody rode them, everybody that rode them experienced this terrible jarring of the bones, and they got the name bone shaker.
So, okay, I can see how you get on, I can see the pedals on the wheels. How do you stop it?
Well, you stop it with back-pedalling of the pedals, but this is the braking mechanism. By revolving the handlebars, the cord gut comes round the roller and actuates the brake on the rear wheel.
It doesn't look
It
as though it's
is a
very effective.
retarder. It's a retarder. It doesn't stop you at all. Very sprung machine. That is a leaf spring, and you do get a little bit of comfort, but not much at all. It's important to have a good saddle.
What's this one?
As you are no doubt aware, Mr. Dunlop invented the pneumatic tyre. Prior to the reinvention of the Dunlop idea of a pneumatic tyre, manufacturers made sprung machines, and this is an attempt. Now if you get the camera on the rear for a start, if I press down, that was to give you an easier ride over the cobble surfaces. And the front does the same. Didn't last very long, fortunately, because the pneumatic tyre came about, but a very, very rare machine. Very, very rare machine. This we think is a quadrant of about 1890.
What's it like to ride?
Your weight, my weight, I wouldn't like to put it on a machine like this, but a lighter person, it's quite a comfortable machine.
Right, let's keep going and take a look at some of the others.
You want to go down to the bottom now?
I love the sidecar on this particular tandem.
This machine belongs to the Kiemer family of Leicester, and last weekend was in Switzerland, and the weekend before that was in the Loire Valley with the two children, Paul and Ellen, in the sidecar and on the passenger seat with mum and dad pedalling away on the front. And it does make quite a pretty picture when they're all on the road.
Sooner them than me, I think. Now this is the one that fascinates me that we're coming towards now, which is a bicycle with, it hasn't got handlebars, it's got a steering wheel.
Some German guy, Moller, dreamt up steering wheel. 9 of these machines were made and 7 have survived. Why they've survived? Because nobody's had the nerve to ride them far. Derek from Market Harbour, who rode this today, this is about his second outing on it, and he's getting quite proficient. But it just does strange things at the slightest moment, whoa, and you know, you can be down. But a steering wheel, you just wouldn't believe it on a bike. It's a mid-1880s tricycle. It was this sort of machine that allowed ladies to start participating in cycling. This is a Marlborough trike made by Coventry machinists of Coventry, who originally made sewing machines. I do know a little bit about this machine. It was ridden across the width of Ireland the other year and fell in half, so it has been repaired. But this again features springing in the front. Not an awful lot, but the spring in there. To assist when travelling downhill, you put your feet up because it's a fixed wheel. But the secret of this machine is the 2-speed gear. Now he's ridden up every hill on today's course because he's been able to go down to a very low gear and he's just pulled straight away from it. Beautiful machine, very, very original. Original bell, original saddle, lovely machine.
From the sublime to the absolutely magnificent, attracting a great deal of admiration in the show, this superb and shining example of British engineering.
Now this is what I call a motor car. I can see it's a Bentley. Tell me a little more about it.
It's an 8-litre Bentley. There were only 100 8 litres made just before Bentley Motors went bust. So they never actually raced the 8-litre, and they got into serious financial troubles in the early 1930s and were taken over by Rolls-Royce. It's said because Rolls feared that this particular power unit was better than anything they had at the time.
So she was built as a racing car?
No, the great Bentley successes were firstly with the 3 litres, and then the 4.5s, the famous blower supercharged Bentleys, and then the 6.5s. But they never raced the 8-litre. They were in too big a financial troubles to carry on racing, and then they shortly folded.
Now, how long have you had?
I haven't had it that long. I've only had it since November last year.
And what possesses a man to buy a car like this?
Well, I suppose it's the epitome of British sporting cars because of its fantastic competition record at Le Mans and Brooklands. It's got a lot of charisma. It's just very desirable.
What sort of performance would you get out of this car?
Well, I think it's still probably good for 120 miles an hour.
And how many to the gallon?
Well, maybe 9, maybe 11, perhaps 10.
A good economical ride.
Good economic. If we work it out on 10, we're not far out.
Do you use her as a runabout car at all, or only for shows and things like that?
No, I use it all year round to keep it taxed and insured all year round. And if the weather's anything like half reasonable, then we go out in it.
And terrible question, what's she worth?
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to sell it to find out. They're all going silly, all these prices. So I don't intend to sell her, so I don't intend to find out.
After a hard morning's polishing, the inner man too needs taking care of. And what better than a traditional plate of fish and chips, and not too much oil, please. A fascination with things military is common to most people at some time, and the same is true of vehicle enthusiasts. But don't suggest to these chaps that they're just playing soldiers.
Right, Andy Nock and Tim Clark. Military vehicles featuring quite heavily in the pageant today. These are your vehicles. Who do they actually belong to?
Well, this one's mine. They're all privately owned, civilian owned.
All of these Jeeps here belong to the lads that are hanging around.
And you have a society?
Yeah, we're in 2 clubs. There's the one club's the 3945, which is the MVG, and there's another club where I don't think they're here today. No, maybe the MVT. They're 2 separate clubs, but they do attend both events. You know, if one sorts one event out, the other club will come. So that one is, you know, it's a good thing. Everybody turns up.
Tell me about this vehicle then. This is yours.
This is ex-Greek Army. It was imported in 1983. It's unrestored as far as I know. It's just been maintained. It's a Willys. I've had no real trouble with it. It's been repainted. It's now in the market as an American vehicle of the Second World War.
And how old is it?
1943 it was made.
So it was made as a wartime vehicle?
Oh yes. They all were. The majority of them will be around the 1943 date.
Are they easy to get hold of?
Quite easy at the moment, although the prices are getting a bit restrictive now.
What would you
People
pay
are asking up to £6,000 for them at the moment.
That's when they've been restored?
Yes, a restored example.
I mean, even for a wreck, you're going to pay 3,000 now. 3,000 up at least.
Meanwhile, town crier Norman Roberts, with the help of the Leicestershire Fire and Rescue Service, was aiming to hit the heights with the tallest tale of the day.
Support Leicestershire Fire Services, their charity. Take a hand round and collect it. Up we go. Welcome to Abbey Park
Okay, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
How did that feel?
Oh, that's great. It's always great.
A nice, gentle 70 foot was that.
The first time I went up some years ago with them, I hate heights, was at the Coronation Row when we were doing a charity thing there. And we got 2 firemen's helmets full of extra money for renal research, so it was well worth it. And if anything gets something a little bit more for these well-deserving charities, well, good luck to them.
Most of the vehicles we've seen so far have been labours of individual love. But for the dozens of buses on show, teams of enthusiasts have got together to restore and maintain them. This one is the responsibility of the Lincolnshire Vintage Vehicle Society, and Dan Teasdale's their chairman and one of the prime keepers of this 1931 specimen.
It's a Leyland LT1, or better known as a Leyland Lion to the enthusiasts.
And a standard sort of bus as it would have been in operation?
Very much so, yes, it was. Widely used.
Now, how did you get your hands on a bus like this?
We got it from Jersey. A lot of vehicles were bought second-hand by the Jersey Bus Company because they're used only infrequently in the summertime. And it was claimed that they were stored in mines of some sort in Jersey where the conditions were right to keep them in good order. And eventually they were sold off, or they were sold off from time to time, and we were able to get this one and a similar model.
So you didn't have to do a lot of work to it?
Yes, it's been completely restored. We paid £40 for it in 1960, and it cost £40 deck cargo to the mainland, and a group of members went along and brought it back from Southampton, I think it was.
Now, how do you go about completely restoring a bus?
Well, it's not quite as easy as a lorry, obviously. The body suffers probably more than the chassis, and wooden members tend to rot and they have to be taken out and new pieces carefully spliced in. The panels have to be removed and probably replaced, and then it's a long process of painting. It's significant that I think this is the oldest bus here today, and it's not our oldest bus. We've got a number that are older than this one, and we pride ourselves on the fact that they're all in working order.
And it's all done by volunteers?
Yes, entirely.
So do you have a lot of bus widows sitting around in Lincoln?
Yes, we have. A dangerous body, I think, if they ever got together.
The aim of the pageant is enjoyment, and even toddlers are entitled to a ride in a car today. Billy Bates's fun fair proved a major attraction for the tens of thousands of people who poured into the park. While most people had arrived on 4 wheels, motorcyclists too were well represented, with machines of all ages and sizes, and riders coming to Leicester from across the length and breadth of the nation, and not a Hell's Angel in sight.
John Wells, you've come in from Sileby today for the pageant, and on this beautiful machine, what is it?
It's a 1924 AJS V-twin, 800cc.
It's quite a big bike then, 800.
Yes, it's for its day, even bigger than the Austin 7, for instance, more power. But of course that more or less overcame it in a way.
There's the sidecar with it. You brought somebody with you in the sidecar today?
Yes, my wife and daughter.
Is this your only machine, or do you have it?
No, this is the only one.
What possessed a man to buy something like this?
Oh, well, I went to the motorcycle club's various meetings like and got interested that way.
What sort of speed will it do?
Well, it will do about 55, but of course you don't drive it at those speeds.
And do you use it as a sort of daily machine? Do you go to work on it?
Oh no, only for special occasions and rallies and things like that.
Did you have to do a lot of work on restoring?
Oh yes, quite a lot, yes.
How difficult is that?
Oh, it's quite involved. It's surprising how long it does take you, actually. Even the smallest thing, you wouldn't believe how long it does take. It's quite a labour of love, really.
The sunshine made the day golden, but it was the search for silver in the shape of one of the many trophies up to be won which made the day competitive, as well as just a friendly meeting.
we believe this to be the oldest vehicle in the show and in the pageant this year. Tell me about the car.
It's a 1905 Model X Renault, the short chassis. It's got a 3 and a bit litre engine. It's got a 3-speed tumbler gearbox, which is the most terrible thing to use. It'll do about 70 miles an hour, so I can average 30 miles an hour on a long run, so it's a very practical car, really.
She'll do a top speed of 70?
So they say, yes. It has been clocked at 70 before I bought it.
Which for a 1905 car I would have thought was quite remarkable.
Staggering, yes. Yes, the world record was under 100 at the time.
Now, how do you look after a car like this? Presumably it takes most of your spare time.
No, I give very little time to it, really. I wash it and I change the oil and I use it. It's very, very practical, apart from the lack of weather equipment.
Now, you've come up here today from Kettering and driven all the way. Yep. If it rains, what happens?
Get wet.
As simple as that.
Yes.
What's a car like this worth?
Well, any of these cars are worth what somebody will pay you on the day, but it's insured for £30,000.
Now, the car's got wooden wheels, of course, which is not a common thing these days.
No, hardly. It's the spokes are made of oak, and the fellies are made of ash, and wooden wheels were the convention in these times. It's got beaded edge tyres. You find in dry weather like this, the spokes tend to get a bit creaky. If you can hear that, they are moving a little bit.
So do you have to actually spray them or soak them?
You just get them wet, yes. You put the hose on them, they stop creaking.
Now, the tyres are pneumatic tyres.
Yes.
Must have been fairly early days for pneumatic tyres, I would have thought.
I'm not quite sure when the pneumatic... I think Michelin invented the pneumatic tyre at about the turn of the century, so they were quite well established by this time, certainly for passenger vehicles anyway. It's got beaded edge tyres, which you have to keep bumped up to about 60 pounds per square inch or they come off the rim, which is both exciting and embarrassing.
Looking at the big leaf springs there, is she a comfortable car to ride in?
Yes, rides lovely. Very comfortable.
A long time ago I smashed a Mini up when I was 19, and to replace it I needed something a bit larger, so I bought a Rover, and I took to this Rover, and I really got into old cars through the Rovers, you see. And then the culmination of the Rovers was that I went to Greece in a Rover 10 and decided that I really needed something a little bit larger and a tourer. And that's how I come to purchase this. And that was 3 years ago. Since then, of course, I've done quite a lot at it. And, well, as is the norm, there's still quite a lot to do.
Oh, yay! Oh, yay! Oh, yay! All you budding award winners, gather round now for the presentation of the awards. Introductions will be made by Hugh Berlin from the Leicester Mercury, and the awards presented by Mr. Alec Lees, the editor of Leicester Mercury. Thank you for your attendance today. Good luck to all of you. Now, over to Hugh Berlin.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to use the microphone because I am chairman now, if he does. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for all the efforts you've put in on behalf of us here today for your vehicles. Thank you for those who've just come down to enjoy the sunshine. And thank you for the sunshine. Everybody wants to know who's won, so Alex Lees, the editor of the Mercury, and my boss, will do the presentation to the trophies, and I'll just tell you who the winners are. And the big one, the winner of the Concours d'Elegance, the Best in Show Leicester Mercury Trophy, is Q30, the BMC van of 1971, Neville Wright of Bishop Auckland.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on such a beautiful day to the Leicester Mercury's second pageant for elderly cars and various other things. I think we've got to say many thanks to Ian McCaskill for bringing the weather for us today, and this is the second year we've had it like this, so next year I don't know what will happen. Many thanks indeed to Susan Hollins, who is the publicity manager of the Leicester Mercury, for a tremendous amount of work in producing and arranging this show. Absolutely outstanding. I think we say a very big thank you to everyone who must have spent weeks and weeks polishing the various vehicles to bring them here and to create nostalgia in the sense of Leicester on a day like this. I think it's a tribute to everyone concerned about caring for old cars. And thank you very much to all of you for coming today to make this such a special event for us. And most of all, a very safe journey home this evening, and let's hope we see you again next year.
Nice day, nice show, and a bonus at the end of it. Really super. Yeah, worth travelling 200 miles for. Every bit. Concourse Gilligons.
Sue, it's over.
It's over.
Has it been good?
It's been wonderful. I've not stopped and it's been terrific.
Do you know now how many vehicles we had here today?
We certainly had over 1,000 vehicles, which does make it an enormous event. It's an awful lot of coordinating.
What's been the reaction of the people who brought their vehicles here? Because they go all over the country.
That's
to
right. They like it. They say they'll be back next year. I went round and shook a few hands and spoke to people. I did a whole tour and they said they'll be back. That's wonderful.
What's involved in setting up something of this size?
A great deal of planning, a great deal of help, lots of support, enthusiasm from all quarters in the newspaper and outside.
It's been a glorious day because the weather made it.
I know.
Do we have any idea how many people came through the gates today?
Well, when you get a park as full as this, then you're talking about 55 to 60,000.
And they all enjoyed themselves?
We hope so.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I enjoyed it, but it was a different kind of enjoyment. I can enjoy myself doing absolutely nothing, but I enjoyed today where it never stopped.
So, go and have a drink.
I deserve it, don't you think?
Thanks very much.
Thanks you.